Hello, everybody! This is Armastis, and you're watching Armastis Live. Why live? Well, because we do all of this live. I know we're crazy. You think we should pre-record, edit all out all of the blurps and the bleeps and the bloops and the bad English and terrible grammars and stuff. But no, we're going to do it live because I guess I just like to punish myself. No, I like to do it live because it's fun. Kind of lazy, and yeah, I want to interact with anybody that jumps in and wants to have any questions while I'm doing these streams, of course, or videos about Final Fantasy TCG, which I am just in love with. This TCG, it is truly, I think, almost taken over my life. Seriously, this game is freaking phenomenal, and today I am super excited because we let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be going through the top 8 Opus 12 decks according to ffdex.com. So yes, what we did is we got the data from ffdex.com. Go check them out. Links in the video description. And the Patreons, which I'm a proud patron of this place, and I encourage all of you to go check them out and become a Patreon. You don't have to, but still go check them out. Highly recommend them. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I just think they're a great place of resource, especially for someone who's only been in the game for few months, right? Anyway, what they do is they email their patrons, I want to say once or every, no, I think once every 2 weeks, data on basically the top cards that have been reported, that have been reported in decks that have been uploaded to the site. And what I did is I just took that data and I grabbed the top 8 Opus 12 cards. And since we have Opus 13 literally around the corner, oh, it's going to be so good. I'm so excited about it. But since we have Opus 13 coming right around the corner, I figured this is a good time to see what the top 8 are from Opus 12, according to ffdex.com, which of course is from the data uploaded by users like you. And yeah, so we're going to go through that. Before we do that, though, I have some notes here for things I need to talk about. But other than that, we're going to pretty much be winging things here. I want to apologize for on Monday, we were supposed to do a Twitch stream of me playing Final Fantasy XIV, the MMO, which I've, only really done just a tiny bit, but I'm not an MMO person, but I was going to jump in because I want to know what the characters are from the TCG game that are in the MMO. Like Estola, I honestly don't know much about her. So I want to know more about like that kind of character. So we're going to play the game together and it was going to be cool and that kind of thing. But my timing was terrible because it seems when I was I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to like do these cool graphics before I start playing and do a little intro. I'm going to download and install the game, which took freaking forever because I'm old and like I still have the mentality of like blowing the gray cartridge and pop in game and play. But no, that's not how things work nowadays. Now you just have to download and wait for the installations, blah 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 blah. It takes forever. Anyway, I'm getting ready to do this. Super excited. I'm letting my friend know. She's excited, and then she mocks me saying, well, you got some really bad timing because today is a main day. Today meaning that last Monday. And I was like, what's a main day? Because I don't know what that is. I'm old. I don't get the kids lingo nowadays. And she's like laughing at me and says, it's a maintenance day, which means you can't log in and play. And I was like, no. So, yeah, we obviously didn't do that Monday. We might do it tomorrow. I don't know. I'm taking my sweetheart tart out for a late Valentine's Day kind of thing. So, safely too, by the way, safely. I don't want to be a hypocrite here. Make sure you're all being safe, social distance, wear a mask, all that kind of thing. If it's not too late, maybe we'll try playing for like an hour or two. I don't know how long you can get in an MMO and like the first hour. I'm assuming it takes a long time to get into the game. But I want to stream the whole thing from beginning to end. Anyway, if we don't do it this tomorrow, then we'll probably do it on like maybe Sunday after we do the news for Final Fantasy, which is awesome because there's more news from the TCG. And if not Sunday, then for sure Monday. Okay. Other things I want to talk about too. This Friday is our deck profile. We'll be doing another deck profile, a more fun one. Trying to get a little more competitive. I'm getting a little bit better at making decks. And then let's see what else. Oh yes, of course, Sunday we have our news. And then betterhelp.com, got to talk about them. Links in video description. I'm not a sponsor to really anyone. Actually, not anyone. I'm going to say really. I'm not a sponsor to anyone right now. And that's okay. But I want to talk about betterhelp.com because it's important. I talk about all the time with my struggles that I've had with mental health. And I've had help, and I've gotten resources, and I've had accountability partners and all this stuff to equip me with the tools, the strength, the courage, the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding, the love, the empathy, the compassion, all of that stuff to deal with whatever I had to deal with, like depression, anxiety, etc., etc. Anyway, it took a lot of work for me to go out and do that, but now with the internets and with the resources available for people, for everybody, there's a place called betterhelp.com, which has made it easier. Other places sponsor it. I've looked into it a bit. It looks like a great place. I would highly recommend it. Yes. Also other stuff. Please remember to like and subscribe. Our numbers are going up. You all are awesome. I know we're at like 60 something, 61, I believe, last I checked. And I am excited every time I get a new subscriber. And the other day I was at a cafe, and the guy there who who kind of knows me, and I kind of know him by this time. Like I'm like I often visit this cafe. He was like, "What are you doing spare time?" I'm like, "Oh, I upload stuff to YouTube. I do that kind of thing." He's like, "Oh, how many followers you got?" And I was like, at the time I had 53 or 2, and I was like 52, and he was like, "Oh," like. But I was so happy because that's so much to me, and I'm just so thankful for every single one of you. Honestly, if I only had one viewer, just one of you out there, I would still keep doing this for you because I want to create a place of joy and happiness, a place to kind of also try to, provide some sort of healthy escapism and talk about a hobby that we all love, of course, and just have fun and that kind of thing. And as long as I got one person, I think I've done my job. And that really makes, at the end of the day, that's really why I do this. I do this for you all because I care about you all. But yes, I do love the game. I love this hobby. But really my first and foremost motivation really was to do this as a service to someone else, even if it was just one. But we're at 60 something now. This is incredible. I have my email down below too. If you ever want to email me any questions, suggestions, whatever it might be, leave comments. Seriously, be open, be honest, say whatever you want. Really won't hurt my feelings. Even if you, honestly, if you just send me an email insulting me, and I know I'm probably like setting myself up here, but seriously, like if you just had like sent me an email that was just insulting me because you wanted to get stuff off your chest, you were feeling lots of anger and just want to let it out on someone, email me. Seriously, it will not hurt my feelings. I will take it. I'll read it. I'll keep everything confidential unless otherwise you allow me to share that information. Obviously, if it's just about the game and whatnot, if it's nothing I feel that is confidential, nothing personal, I will just talk about it, of course, just to let you all know. Okay, I think that is it. Let's jump into this. Okay, here we are. Boom! I love it. There's Ash looking all beautiful and whatnot. Don't you just love the art? I love the art for Opus 12. Opus 13, oh my gosh, I think the art's going to be so freaking fantastic. It's going to be so good. But as far as cover art for a booster box set, Opus 12 is definitely up there. I still think Opus 8 is my favorite. That or, what was the other one? Oh yes, 7, I believe, which has Bards on it, is also really great. But 12 is good. 13 is going to be amazing as well with Lightning. And so I guess what are we, oh yes, I'm like, what are we doing? Let's jump in now. We're going to start, of course, with number 8. And who is number 8? The big boy, the Shadow Lord. This card is freaking incredible. I have been talking about this card for a while. I love this card. I think this card is, well, it was undervalued. I feel underrated, I should say. But as you all know here, obviously, this is now at number 8. I believe this actually knocked out, oh my gosh. I want to say, I think it was Riku that was number 8 for a while, or I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that one. But Shadow Lord knocked out whichever one that was on number 8. up to now taking the slot for number 8 as the 8th most popular card right now in decks from Opus 12, according to ffdex.com. It's a beast of a card. Prior to this card, so this card is being splashed into obviously Krill lock builds. It's being put into other power earth builds. It's being put into aggressive builds. It's a cheap cost to the downside. So let's read it really quickly. I'm getting too excited here. So when Shadow Lord enters the field, your opponent may play 1 backup of cost 2 or less from their hand onto the field. Okay, that's supposed to be the downside. As you and I know, who've been playing this game, even myself, I still consider myself a junior at this game, knows that really that downside, not really a downside, a 2 cost 9k power card on basically turn 1 if you want it to be. It's incredible. That is a hard thing for your opponent to deal with. On top of that, you can pay 1 earth, and until the end of the turn, Shadow Lord gains Brave, which means it doesn't get dull when it declares an attack, when you can declare an attack with it. And it also has the ability, X burst of cards put into the damage zone due to the Shadow Lord cannot be used. So if you hit your opponent with this, and X burst goes off like a cloud or just whatever it might be, right? An Ifrit card or whatever, or like a Tyro, they can't use it. The Shadow Lord prevents that. It's a beast of a card. So prior to the popularity of this beast, we had Dataluma here. I believe that's how you say it, Dataluma. So Dataluma here was a super popular card. In fact, a problem card according to the oh my gosh, one of the formats I forgot. This card essentially got banned to be used, and you'll have to forgive me, I can't remember off the top of my head which format that was. But people were using this card like crazy as well, because it was another cost 2 fire, which is super popular. Shadow Lord Earth, super popular, of course, but was being used quite often. 2 costs, 8k power, which is huge for 2 costs. When Data Limit enters the field, Data Limit deals you 1 point of damage. So you would just take that 1 point of damage turn 1. So you'd start with just 1 point of damage. Really wasn't a big deal though. Again, as long as you have at least 1 point left to live, damage in a sense almost doesn't matter. Sometimes depends on the build you have, but sometimes not. Of course, had the added ability that if you receive 3 points of damage, Dataluma gains Brave, and Dataluma cannot become dull by your opponent's summons or abilities. So that effect is still really good. Obviously, with its effect that deals you 1 point of damage, you can get a damage 3 pretty quick. But I think due to the Shadow Lord of not inflicting the damage, it has overtaken its power, and it's caused Dataluma to kind of shrink in terms of its popularity. Little guy feeling kind of sad here. Run along. I'm so sorry, Dataluma, but you know, you're not as loved anymore. But that's okay. So the Shadow Lord has also been proven to be one beast of a wall card to deal with as well, like I mentioned on turn 1. Dealing with this, playing it against your opponent feels great, obviously, but dealing with that on turn 1 is just hard, because even if you do bring out monsters, you're gonna have to then deal with the fact that you're gonna be getting smacked with 9k power, and you're either gonna be blocking with forward, that's just gonna be sacrifice, or you're gonna have to like just use resources quickly to be able to knock this card out as fast as possible, because it's just such a big card. So there we go, the Shadow Lord. Anyway, moving on to our next card. Another great card here. We've got... Where are you at? Where'd she go? I'm like over here talking, and I'm like, where is she? Oh my gosh. Let's see here. Ah, yes, Ash. I was like, where did she go? Hello. So we got Ash here. I was like, I just talked you up and you weren't appearing for me. So yes, Ash, an amazing card. Again, so she made me lose track of my thoughts here. Anyway, so ranked in at number 7, Ash reads: if you control 6 or more characters, Ash gains plus 2,000 power. Ash cannot be chosen by your opponent's abilities. At the end of each of your turns, if you have cast 3 or more cards this turn, draw 1 card. So 2 costs, 5k, respectable, not bad. On top of that, during mid or late game, you're gonna have you will pretty much have 6 cards that you're controlling, characters that you're controlling, and Ash will gain the 2000 she'll be 7k, which is amazing. On top of that, the ability of Ash that is not able to be chosen by opponents' abilities is pretty big as well. So she can basically bypass certain burn effects from abilities, or damage, I guess, effects, I should say, from abilities. Is burn the right word in this game? I'm not sure. Stuff like that. So that's great. But the other thing here, the big thing about Ash is that draw power. So draw power, super necessary, right? We need this card that is being used in decks like Lock, the Lock Krill kind of variant stuff. That deck, as we know, does tend to burn out rather quickly. And because of that, we have seen the popularity in Ash being put in this deck to be able to, since that deck has this ability to combo off quite a bit, you can use its abilities to allow you to draw. Otherwise, again, without that draw power, the deck kind of just burns out. So again, we have Asura, Fina, Diabolos, and Bartz, which help us with that kind of stuff. And of course, since we are basically reactivating our backups to play more resources to get that count up, people are even splashing in cards like Alexander, which reads draw 1 card. If you have cast 4 or more cards this turn, draw 2 cards instead. So what we're doing with specifically that like Lock Krill kind of build, right, is Ash is with the recycling of reactivating backups, being able to play more stuff in a turn, right? Lots of combos in one turn. At the end of the turn, not only are we going to be able to draw 1 card, but if we do use a card like Alexander, we're going to draw at least 1 card, but potentially even 2. So we're getting 3 cards at the end of the turn. Of course, Ash will probably stay out there, so it means by next turn you're going to be able to use these things again, more stuff to kick off Ash to be able to draw some more. So she's been really super great in the Lock Krill kind of builds. Let me know what your thoughts are on Ash. I specifically love this card. I think it's a fantastic card. Now, let's see here if our deck number 6 will appear for us. And there she is. Hey, there she is. Estola. Love, love, love this card. Another power card. Estola is freaking fantastic. We are seeing Estola being used more and more. Estola is also being splashed into our Krill lock decks, but she's also being put in the ever infamous, famous March Ritz build. My favorite build. I love them. She's up there now as a powered card like the Shadow Lord and the Cloud card. Estola, 9k, has haste, only costs 3, not hard to bring out. If Estola is dealt damage less than her power, the damage becomes 0 instead. She has haste, so you bring her out, can attack immediately. She's not dulled that turn, right? Just attacks immediately. And Estola cannot be blocked by a forward of cost 4 or more. She is amazing. She's a powerful, powerful card. I've seen combos that splash in Prish as well, because Prish will allow you to search for a forward of power 9k or more other than Prish. So people are using Prish to search for Estola, but also if you're using them like in these March Ritz builds that do use Shadow Lord or Cloud and other 9k monsters now, even like Neo X Death, Prish is being used in there to search them out. Of course, you know, searching out Estola. On top of that, if you have Prish out in the field, you get Estola out there. Prish also gains the 3k power. So yeah, Estola seeing a rise in popularity. She's a powerful mama. Do not mess with Estola. I love this card. So here we are for number 6. And moving on here to number 5, we are going to have... What do we have for number 5? We've got, oh yes, Sildra. Sildra, fantastic card. Sildra reads, search for 2 water characters, 2 category 5 characters, or 1 of each with a different cost, and add them to your hand. This card is freaking phenomenal. It is being used in the ever popular Warrior of Light variants right now, specifically the ones that use water. So it allows you, of course, to search for cards, the Warrior of Light cards that are water. But on top of that, take note that we have cards like Ferris, Lena, that are, and there's a few others, forgive me, I can't remember off the top of my head, that are also category 5. So immediately with Sildra, you could search out Ferris and Lena, which is super awesome in this deck. Also, it's being used in other builds. So Sildra is also being splashed into other builds such as Lightning and Earth builds, because you can also search out ever popular cards like X-Death, Gilgamesh, and Object Art there that just kind of like splashed over my face. Excuse me, sir. And of course, the beautiful Krill is also category 5. But on top of that, one thing I didn't notice, the powerful Neil X-Death, also searchable with Sildra. What? Yes. Super powerful card. Get that card out early or quickly in your hand and on the field. That's what Sildra lets you do. I love Sildra. It's a great card. Definitely one of my favorites out of the Opus XII. Let me know what you think about Sildra here. So moving on now to rank number 4. Quattro. We've got Locke. We've been talking about Locke. Yes, Locke in the popular Locke Krill builds. What does Locke do? Let's read Locke. Locke costs 8. Oh my gosh. Oh, he costs 8. It's so expensive. Hold on. So the cost required to cast Locke is reduced by 2 for each card you have cast this turn. It cannot become 1 or less. When Locke enters the field, select up to 2 of the 4 following actions. Your opponent discards 1 card from their hand. Choose up to 2 characters, dull them, and freeze them. Choose 1 forward of cost 6 or more, break it. Choose 1 monster, break it. Oh my gosh, this card is so good. I love this card. I love that Locke Krill build. I'm not sure. It has a bunch of names, so I'm not really sure what you call this. But this card is freaking phenomenal. You combo this with the Asura, the Fina, the Diabolos, and even the Bart's package that we've talked about before, and you lower the cost, of course, of Locke. Can potentially come down to 2, right? So you want to combo these cards in there to be able to use more. And you're going to have Ash in there, which is also pumping up her ability. That's going to give you that extra draw with just like with Alexander. And then Locke is also being used with cards like Rinoa. Though Rinoa saw some increase in popularity from what I saw in FF decks, but she kind of went down a little bit. And there were other replacements, but the idea with Rinoa was that after you got Lockout, then you would play Rinoa, right? You then could remove Locke and then bring Locke back Dull, which then allows you to get the ability again. And the ability, of course, I think that's being used mostly on oftenly is the discarding from hands, and also the dulling and the freezing. So yeah, Rinoa with Locke is just super incredible. You can, cheese out Locke, becomes very trolly, super annoying for your opponent. So yeah, I love Locke. I think Locke is just a fantastic card. Let me know what you think about the old Locke. Also comes from my favorite Final Fantasy game, Final Fantasy VI. All right, so on to rank number, what are we on? 3, I believe here. We've got Althea. So Althea, again, another card that's being used in the Locke Krill builds. But I want to also acknowledge that, well, let's first read Althea. What does she do, right? So Althea, a backup, costs 3, a hero card here, right? At first doesn't seem too important, but Althea reads, when Althea enters the field, choose 1 character other than Althea you control, activate it. Okay. So you think to yourself, well, okay, I can reactivate a backup or maybe even a forward, right? And use it again as a resource. And then, so Althea has the other ability. You can dull Althea, choose 1 character other than Althea you control, return it and Althea to their owner's hand, which means that you can reuse Althea again to activate a character, and then reuse Althea again to bounce a card back to your hand. Why would you want to bounce cards back to your hand? For the ability to go with Locke again, or I'm sorry, so she adds to the abilities of Locke, to Zidane, to Citra. Any of these abilities that happen upon cards entering on the field, We see, of course, like the Locke, Citra, and Zidane cards are comboed again with that Renoa, right? Renoa removing cards, bringing them back to be able to use these cards, that these auto abilities that kick off when they enter the field. Again, Althea bringing back cards and cards that you play again on the field and using those abilities again, these auto abilities again. Super popular, super important. And of course, we even have, I believe, Mjoi. I think that's how you say his name. Or her name, apologies there. So when Mjoi enters the field, choose one character other than Mjoi you control. You may return it to the owner's hand. If you do so, you draw a card. So super good. Also, typically you will see Mjoi with Althea combo together to have that other ability to bounce these cards. And you know, it's just to be able to cheese out your Locke, cheese Zidane, cheese Citra, make your opponent super upset with you because you keep abusing these abilities. But you know, that's what they're there for. So there we go. That comes in as number 3, Althea, our backup here. So moving on to number 2, we got the ever amazing and ever popular Amaterasu. I almost said Armastis. Almost sounds like Armastis, huh? Someone called me Amaterasu the other day when they were referring to me online. I was like, no, it's Armastis. But I love this card. By far my favorite summon in the TCG, not my favorite summon in the Final Fantasy games. My favorite summon in the games are, I believe, I have to go to Bahamut, and then maybe Shiva or Odin, maybe. But yeah, anyway, Amaterasu, my favorite summon in this game. What does Amaterasu do? Amaterasu costs 3. Choose one auto ability, cancel its effects. Even if this card only said that, this card would be incredible. But it doesn't. There's more. If the canceled auto ability triggered from a forward, what triggers from a forward has an auto ability? How about Locke, Zidane? What other cards? Oh, how about Cyan, and a few other ones? Yeah, so if the canceled auto ability triggered from a forward, deal that forward 8,000 damage. So this card is super popular. It's being used to take out power cards such as Cyan the Crayon in the popular samurai builds, of course, being used to take out Zidane, which is more and more popular nowadays. So the annoyance of just losing a card. But you think to yourself, well, what about the big boys like Cloud and Braskus and of Neo X Death? Well, never fear, because typically when people are running Amaterasu, they're using a card like the beautiful Terra here. And guess what? Terra is going to pile on that extra 2k damage. And these big boys are no longer big boys but little boys and are very easily taken out by the ever popular, strong, powerful Amaterasu card. So that comes in as number 2. Very well deserved card. I think it definitely deserves to be either number 1 or number 2, definitely. But what is number 1? Well, we've been talking about it for a while already. We've got the ever beautiful, wonderful, powerful Krill card. Yes, you would think this little innocent little girl, this adorable little girl, is not a threat, but she is freaking powerful and is a huge threat. She's a warrior of light as well, and she has seen rise in popularity. What does she do? Well, let's read Krill. When Krill enters the field, choose one summon from either player's break zone. You can cast it as though you owned it this turn. Wow. If you cast it, remove that summon from the game after use instead of putting it into the break zone. So even if you took your opponent's not getting it back in the break zone. It will be removed from play. And the other ability here, well, you can keep using Krill's effect, because guess what? Next turn, you just pay 1, you dull Krill, and you choose one summon from either player's break zone. You can cast it as though you owned it this turn. If you cast it, remove that summon from the game after use instead of putting it into the break zone. Oh my gosh, yes. You can just keep using Krill. She is a freaking powerful card here. And if you take an opponent's summon, right, and say you're only running like Earth, Fire, how do I use my opponent's, lightning builds? I was about to say electric cards, but like lightning or water or snow or ice builds. Let me see snow. Well, Krill's being used with cards like Cosmos, Chaos, Shantoto, of course, and Tyro to be able to utilize to get access to the other elements for cost. So things like Rama and Glacia, Amaterasu, Sildra, and of course Fenrir can be used again and again with Krill. But I also want to take another note here with Fenrir. If we look at Fenrir's effect here, I believe it is the last one. If you can see there, it says choose one Earth Forward of cost 2 in your break zone, play it onto the field dull. Which means if you have Fenrir in your hand, Krill is only cost 2. You can actually bring Krill back into play by playing Fenrir and then using Krill's ability that turn as well, which is super incredible. Combos really beautifully with the Fenrir card here as well. So yes, number 1, of course, Krill here, also very well deserved. Used in the Lock Krill variants, super popular card. And so that is really it. That is our top 8 cards according to ffdex.com. Go check them out and let me know what you all think. Should these be top 8? Would they be your top 8? Let me know in the comments what your top 8 would be. I'm curious what that is. I think as we get more reveals, if we get a full reveal of Opus 13 before the official release, I'm going to do what I think my top 8 are. And I think that'll be interesting from someone who has only been in the game for a few months. And then, we can take another poll to see, what your top 8 are out of Opus 13. And then, of course, once Opus 13 has had, some time in the meta, we'll probably do like a month in or something. I'm sure I'll get another email from FFdex. So we'll probably do another review. And maybe we'll do it like once a month just to see until Opus 14 comes out, like, the top 8, how that has been, how that's changing and fluctuating. Yeah, so I guess that's it. I'm hoping next week we'll be back to our series of opening Opus 12 to 1. We didn't do 7 today because I wanted to do this top 8. I was super excited about that. But also because I don't have an Opus 7 box like I thought I did. Oopsies! So I need to get one so that we can have one to do to open for next week. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you like this or not? If you do, let me know in the comments. And if not, also let me know in the comments. I like this. I had a lot of fun. I spent a lot of time preparing for it with my cool little, built-in Keynote graphics. And it was great. I had fun doing it. I hope you all enjoyed it like I did. Thank you again for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, to follow. Remember, you're all wonderful. You're all beautiful. You're all loved. And until next time, bye-bye.